Good morning, everyone. It's very early morning. It's about 5 a.m. It's actually not even 5 a.m. And I'm down here at the Victory Garden because it's time to put the Victory Garden to bed for the season. The last thing I got to do down here is dig up those strawberries that were over here so I can get the rest of my garden beds in. This is the remnants of the strawberries. We've had some very cold mornings for the past week, and after a pretty mild fall, start of fall anyway, it's turned cold. It gets warms up in the daytime, but it's very cold at night, and so the strawberries have all died back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig all these up. I'm going to try and transplant them back at home. You can see how cold it is with my breath there. But I need to clear out the garden bed because, as you remember, I was putting in beds, and I've got most in. I've been just doing a little at a time as time and materials allow, and pretty much run out of materials to fill the beds. So I still got 3 beds to do, one there, and one there. But I've got 6 of them in, 6 of the 9. Not sure how well this is showing up on camera because it is so dark. It's not bad in the summertime, of course, because it's nice and bright out at 5 a.m. when I come down to the garden. But in wintertime, or late fall, I should say, it's very dark. I'll try not to breathe into the camera too much. Wow. So I have filled all the beds with the mix that I showed in my prior video, and I have covered them with a layer of grass clippings. And this is going to be my in-bed composting over winter. So this grass should break down over the winter time, and whatever nutrients will go down into the soil, and they should be able to be planted right away in the springtime. I had wanted to get all 9 done so that these 3 beds that'll be here will be able to get the benefit of the grass clippings on top and the nutrient breakdown, the composting aspect of it, but that wasn't to be. So what I'm going to do is clean out all these strawberries because they did become very invasive. My neighbor's garden, as you can see, they've grown up all in here on him. So I'm not sure what he's going to do on his side, but I'm going to get rid of them on my side. Hopefully I get them all. And like I said, I'm going to transplant the plants back home and see if I can get them to grow there. So what I'm going to do now, I have my pitchfork here, and I'm just going to go through and try and dig them up. I'm going to clear it out, and I'm going to put the plants into these buckets here, and then I'll bring them back and transplant them at home. I wanted to wait for them to really die back so that they had the best chance of surviving when I transplanted them, and the ground is still very workable, so I'm going to get right to it. I will say I didn't work this ground last year in preparation of planting because the strawberries were here and I didn't want to disturb them. They didn't perform all that well. I got maybe 1 or 2 strawberries, and that was really because the I think there are rabbits in here. There's some animals in here, squirrels even probably, that like to nosh on them. So I would see some that were almost ready to pick, and they would be eaten the next time I came back to get them. Now there's a lot of plants. This thing threw out so many runners. But Fortunately, strawberries are a fairly shallow rooted plant, so they're not shouldn't be too difficult to pull up. I will have to come back in the daytime though to make sure that I got them all, because I really don't want any taking root next year. I'm very much a morning person. I'm up at 4 a.m. I'm up at 3 a.m. usually. Out the door before 4, and I take my dog to the park and we go for a walk. Usually go for about 2 miles. And then if there's something in the garden that needs to be done, that's when I do it. Now these plants had actually extended way down the garden, and I just ripped up and got rid of all the strawberries that were down this way. But I do want to try and save some of them if I can. So as I said, transplant at home. It's almost the 3rd week of October. And this will probably be the last official act down at the Victory Garden. And if I kill some, I don't mind, because as I said, there's a lot of them. But if you look, this looks like a runner here that came off, and then you got a plant here, and then more here. So there's a lot of strawberries down here. I'm definitely not going to be using them all at home. I've got some big planters that I want to put them in. I don't know how they're going to do in that. Since it's free plants, I figured I would give it a shot. I tried growing strawberries one time before at home in milk crates. I'd seen a lot of YouTube videos on people who have done that, and I bought like 20-something strawberry plants to plant out the milk crates. I had a 3-crate tower, and they grew terrific. I forget who I bought the plants from, but they were producing strawberries all throughout the fall, because I got them later, because my whole purpose was to overwinter them, not to plant them in the summer. But well into November, and I pinched off a lot of the flowers, figuring the plants would grow stronger. Hey buddy, you're in the camera. And I had kept them in the greenhouse, so it kept them warmer longer than otherwise. So they were growing well into late December, early January. And then it just got too cold for them, and they kicked off and finally died back. But they didn't come back in the springtime. So I think it's an issue of being in a container. So as I said, I'm not sure if these are going to survive planting them in the planters that I've got. They're big, wide, shallow planters. And I want to plant them in there to kind of contain them so I don't have them running rampant all over the yard. Kodak's my gardening buddy. He's always down here with me. And it's one of the reasons I actually come down early in the morning, because really not allowed to have dogs down here. But he stays right by me. A lot of times he just lays right on top of the garden beds. So I just come down here in the morning, and he can then relax here. No issue. So I think I got plenty of plants here. So I'm going to be more aggressive now in going through and just ripping out whatever's left. And then I'll be back. All right, I've got it pretty much cleaned up. I'm going to come back with my scuffle hoe and get rid of all the top plants, anything I missed, any weeds that are still here, and clean this all up. In the springtime, it'll be ready for the garden beds to be put down. So the ground will be leveled out a little bit, and we'll put new beds in like this. But it's got nice wide paths to walk in. I can bring the wheelbarrow in as I need to bring materials in. And I think putting it in beds will allow everything to stay neater. Plus, I can put covers on top of everything. I think I'm going to be putting in hinged bed covers over the top to protect the plants from animals and stuff like that. The Victory Garden has basically been put to bed, certainly for this year, and then we'll finish up the rest next year. Tomorrow. So I planted the strawberries in this planter here. There's 7 strawberries in this. It's not a very deep planter, as you can see. If you recall, I planted some leftover onions in here last year. So they didn't do all that well, and it's because it wasn't particularly sunny, so it is going to move out of this location. And I'll put it into a spot that's going to get more sun. But for now, I just wanted to get them into the ground so that they could overwinter. Hopefully, they won't freeze to such a degree in this planter that they do die. But we'll see what happens. But that was just 7, and I dug up a ton. And I'm putting this over the top to protect it from my chickens. Because I let them out into the fall back here after the garden is basically put to bed, so they can root around and have fun and not just be in their pen. But I dug up a lot of strawberries, and I got 3 more containers like this. So this is in the back of my yard. In the fall, it's shaded, but in the spring and summer, it's quite sunny back here, which actually surprised me. I didn't realize it was quite so sunny back here. This will be at least their temporary location. I have another idea of where I might eventually relocate these more permanently, to where it's sunny no matter what time of the year it is. So there, again, there's 7 in each planter bowl. We'll see how they do. They're spaced approximately 10 to 12 inches apart in here. I've got 1 in the center, and maybe a little bit less. And then 6 spaced around it on the outside. And I think that should be fine. And I did a mix of what looked like a bunch of original plants because their root system was bigger, much more established, and then what were obviously a bunch of runners around the outside. As you can see, I still had plenty of plants left over that I could have planted more. Let me just show, because I think I got a couple here. Yeah, now this looks like it was an original plant just from the size of the root here. And then there were a bunch more like this, which are obviously runners. So we'll see if they take. If they do, that'll be fantastic. If not, then no loss. They were free plants. I'd like them to take, even if only a few of each take. That'll be terrific, because they'll produce more strawberry plants, that's for sure. But if you want to see what we were doing in the garden last week, check out this video right here, and then subscribe and hit that notification bell. And that way you'll be able to follow along on the progress on all of our vegetables as we try to grow a supermarket down here at the Victory Garden. Okay, thanks for watching.